Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this is the first episode of our podcast. We haven't even come up with a name for it yet. So maybe you guys could, throw some suggestions in the comment section. But right now we're kind of leaning towards, what do we lean towards? Family, prepper family.
The prepared
family, something like that, something generic like that. But anyways, last week I had mentioned in my video that I was going to do this podcast. My wife and I were going to get together and do this podcast. And after I finished uploading that video, my wife looked at me and was like, "Oh, we're doing a podcast once a week." So that's how I plan things here. So she's the itinerary girl and I'm just the wing it guy. And together we make a really good team. But no, anyways, you guys, this is my lovely wife, Jenny. She has a homestead channel called
Homestead Healing.
Homestead Healing. I always get it mixed up.
That I haven't been posting very much because I've been too busy, but
yeah, it's been a while. So, but we're glad to be here. We just barely got this podcast up and going. I spent the last hour and a half frantically looking for one little wire for our mic setup. So hopefully the audio is coming in okay. We won't know until we finish the video and then review it. But I got two cameras going, so in case this doesn't work, we have a backup one. But hopefully this all works good and you can hear us well. But what we wanted to talk about is our shared experience, kind of how Jenny and I met, and a little bit of our backgrounds, but mostly how we kind of got into this preparedness journey, and then how we ended up ultimately getting married, having kids, and moving to Idaho. So there's a lot to unpack here, and I'm not sure, I don't know where to really start other than, I don't know if we should start like where we met. That's kind of boring. We met in front of a bagel shop.
Well, how we met, we were, both sober.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, so we're both in recovery, not quite at the same time. So I think, how did I have like 10 years? I think I had like a little over 10 years when I met you.
Yeah, and I had like maybe 3 or something.
Yeah, something like that. But
from alcohol.
Yeah, a couple of alkies right here. You're like, that escalated quick. So now you guys know that about us. But that's actually not really where we met. I mean, we did kind of go to some meetings together, but I was kind of like really not going to that many meetings at that point. I had 10 years and I was just focused. I had a lot going on financially and I was just focused on getting my life back together from a financial standpoint and a health standpoint. And Jenny was kind of on this health kick where she was really getting into like natural remedies and holistic type remedies. And I was in the process of healing my ulcerative colitis. So I think that like actually brought us together more than anything. We kind of had that bond, and then it was like right off the bat. Well, it was kind of rocky in the beginning, but once we finally, united, then we just became like a financial healing team. And that was pretty much like what bonded us more than anything.
Yeah, I was really into food and healing through food and just eating healthier and just learning about different diets and lifestyles. And when I met Joe, and I learned he had ulcerative colitis, I was really interested in what he was kind of eating. And he, I guess, never really paid attention to, how food affects colitis and stuff like that. So I, just pointed out a few ingredients and things that I had been researching that may be contributing or definitely not helping with his healing. And then he went down a whole, what do you call it?
Rabbit hole
to try and look more into diets for colitis. So
yeah.
It's just kind of played off of each other's interests and what was going on. And
yeah, there were a lot of revelations that year. So that was, what year was that? Like it was 2013, 14. because we were together for about 2 years before we got married.
12, 13, 14.
Yeah. So those crazy years, but yeah, I've shared it on my channel before. I actually did a video making a prepper where I got into a lot of how I became a prepper, and a lot of this stuff kind of ties in, but a lot of it was just having kind of a lot of revelations or red pills, so to speak. Just not only about like the health industry, but the financial industry as well. So I became very radical in like how I started doing things financially and health wise. So, but it was, definitely something that changed me for the better. So you guys we're like on borrowed time here, aren't we? Like our kids are downstairs watching a movie. So we're probably going to get some interruptions from time to time. I don't know. You might want to run down there. I think they're okay. Hopefully, we heard a door open to outside, so hopefully they're not going outside. But yeah. All right, take two. What did we get? Like 8 minutes into the show before our first interruption. So, all right, we're back. Just had one of our kids had to do a bathroom break, but we're back. So where did I leave off? We're talking about.
We met.
Yeah.
And where did we go from there? Colitis.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. You were. Yeah, a lot of revelations that year, and but yeah, if you guys hadn't seen that video of making a prepper, I touch on a lot of the same stuff that we're going to be talking about today, but it's good because we have Jenny's take on all of this as well. So, but that was a crazy time. There's 2011, 2012, 2013. That was, I think, a lot of people became preppers around that time because of the big financial crash and the housing crash and everything. So just not sure because there's so much to unpack. Not sure what, I don't want to get lost in these subjects because each one could easily be a full video. I mean, just talking about the financial collapse and losing my house and the colitis, those are all like full videos. So
yeah, that's in Making a Prepper, right?
Yeah.
Too. So,
but what we wanted to do is that, so the reason why we started this podcast mostly was because in the mornings, Jenny and I, we get up pretty early before the kids wake up. We make coffee and we have coffee and we get about an hour and a half tops before our kids come in.
Pretty good.
To talk to each other. And we just realized that these conversations we were having were like really good. And we're thinking we need to make a video, we should be recording these podcasts or recording these conversations. So that's pretty much what inspired us to do this podcast. So now hopefully you guys get something out of it, but really for today's show, we just kind of wanted to focus on our journey. So once we met, we already went through and I was trying to get over my colitis. I healed my colitis naturally. And then both of us were working full time. She was a hairdresser full time. I was a painting contractor full time. And so we were actually making like similar wages.
In California.
Yeah, in California. And so I told her at that point in my life, I had a lot of debt and I was just focused on paying off debt. And so I was being really frugal about things and I was living in a storage unit. But sounds a lot worse than it is, but this storage unit was actually pretty nice. I actually put a lot of like money into it. It was nice. It had a full bathroom, kitchen.
Remodeled. It was nice.
Yeah, it was a nice storage unit.
It was a small like home. It was really nice.
It was like a upscale, kind of like a studio apartment.
Yeah.
But it was a storage unit.
Yeah.
It was like a big steel, like roll up door, and so you went up to the front. It was, I'm sure, when I first brought you back to my pad, you're probably like, what the hell? Is this my last night alive?
But as soon as I went inside, I totally, felt like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You never would expect what it looked like once you go inside. It
Yeah.
was, a full kitchen, little kitchen, but a living room, an office, a bedroom.
Yeah, it was nice.
Nice.
It was hard to leave that
small.
place.
Yeah.
But And I was like I was like definitely into prepping because at that point, when you and I kind of came together, um, I had like my buckets of food going. I had 5 gallon buckets of food, and
Yeah, your mini pantry.
yeah, I was
All
buying
that.
ammo. So
Yeah.
yeah, you were probably like, there weren't too many birds like me, especially we're in Marin County, California, where we're from. So yeah, I definitely stuck out. Um, but yeah, that was what was that? It was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, when we started 11, 12 years ago.
2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been married almost 10 years now.
10 years in April.
Yep.
Yeah.
10 years in April.
Mm-hmm.
And we had our first child in 2015. So,
Yeah.
and then 2 more came along. So we got a lot done
Yeah.
in a very short period of time.
2015 was a very busy year for us too. We
Yeah.
got married, we bought a house, and we had a baby.
Yeah.
And all in
In
that
1 year.
and
And moved out of the state.
And moved to Idaho. Yeah,
Yeah.
Our house was in Idaho.
Yeah, without any help, and it was a total fixer-upper. So
yeah, we've saved a lot of money. I was a hairdresser, and I was making good money in Marin County as a hairstylist. So
yeah,
when you have no kids and you can work every day, just making like $300 to $500 a day doing hair, and then he was a painting contractor we were making pretty close to the same amount and just saving all of everything.
Yeah,
like,
saving.
We stopped going out for coffee. We weren't going out to eat. We were just cooking our own food.
Yeah, both living in the storage unit. And the storage unit, the rent was only $550 a month.
Including the utilities.
Including the utilities.
Yeah.
It was cheap.
Yeah.
So we were able to, I was able to pay my debt off like super quick. It took me about 2 years, but I had $50,000 in debt. I didn't pay that much off because I didn't offer and compromise with the IRS, but I had at least $20,000 in debt to pay off. And so I was able to pay off that debt and then put together enough cash, to buy the home. But both of us, by the time we were finished saving, we both had basically saved up the exact same amount. And
it was exactly the amount we needed for the house.
Yeah, and then we just so happened to find the perfect house for exactly the amount of
$35,000, $70,000 house. It was like, so yeah.
Yeah, I know you guys are thinking, wow, it was 68. It was like 65,000 or something. I know it was a dumper house in far north Idaho. So that was right before things started kind of taking off, especially here in Idaho.
It's really cute now, though.
Yeah,
we remodeled it, and it's really cute now.
Yeah, it's a nice house. So still have that house. We're renting it out, but yeah, we got a lot done in a very short period of time, and it's because we weren't like spring chickens. Like I knew I was like I was 38 years old.
I was 32.
Yeah, and Jenny was 32. So I'm thinking, if I'm gonna have a family, I need to get it busy like now. Like this has to happen now. And I also knew too is that what was happening for me is that I actually became so comfortable when I was living in that storage unit. I mean, imagine it's like I had everything I needed. I was saving I just had tons of money because my overhead was so low. I mean, my life was good. And I remember feeling like I am way too comfortable for somebody living in a storage unit, and and that was like set me wrong. I'm like, and I knew that I was at a kind of a crossroads, and I had to make a decision. I'm like, if I don't really get serious and get married and have a family, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life in here. So luckily, I made the right decision. But we took full advantage of of that living situation, and I mean, healed my colitis, paid off my debt, and then saved enough money for a house. And then you got pregnant like that, the same year. We were, doing all that stuff. And originally we were like looking at places in Northern California. But Northern California, for those of you might not know it, it's just done too in a lot of ways. I mean, not quite as bad as a lot of the places in Southern California, but Northern California has its own set of problems, believe me. But we kind of quickly, after we looked at a lot of properties up there, kind of realized that was not going to work. And so, yeah, we went to Oregon, looked at a bunch of properties in Oregon. That was kind of a no-go, same kind of
Almost the same,
situation.
yeah.
It was like Oregon wasn't
California.
much different than California. And then
Yeah.
Washington is like worse.
Yeah.
Sorry for the Washingtonians out
At
there.
least where we were looking, it
Yeah,
was
it was
where we were
bad.
looking, where we had gone.
Yeah.
So, sure, there's nice places. But
Yeah. But so by the time we were like to Washington, I'm like, well, might as well just go to Idaho, because at that point we were just trying to kind of stay close to our family because we had a baby on the way. I'm like, I don't want to be in a situation where we don't have help. So we were trying to find somewhere sort of close, but
and Idaho is a little more aligned politically with where we were at.
Yeah, for sure.
As well, too.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing we were looking for.
Yeah, that's definitely the
Sure.
big selling point to Idaho. I think it's why most people come here, is just the political atmosphere is a lot more in line for those of us who are, say, liberty-minded, but
Homesteaders.
freedom oriented. But talk about a culture shock. I tell you, going from California, I mean, we were both born and raised in California. Going from California to Idaho was just like, I mean, it's like you do a 180. It's like you woke up in 50 something.
We were in a
55.
very small town, 2 hours north of,
Yeah.
like, just the farthest north you could get in Idaho. That's where we were. And that's why it was so cheap, too. It was a very, very
Yeah.
little.
But that town's
town. It's
really
grown, yeah.
exploded in the last few years. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think we could have picked up perfect time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's why we were able to rent our house out.
yeah.
It's really
So
grown so much.
yeah, so I definitely, I mean, if I was to say for those of you who are like you young people, maybe you're in a similar boat, like take advantage of your singlehood, save money while you can and put it into real estate. I mean, that's, obviously I'm not a financial expert, but I'll tell you what I did was the greatest thing I ever did in my life. And every day it's just like I can breathe a huge sigh of relief because of that handful of decisions that we made in those years,
At the
just
right
from a
time.
financial standpoint, real estate standpoint, greatest thing ever. So if you have the opportunity, save money and then buy a home outright. That's my advice. And I think there's still homes. I mean, I don't know if in Idaho you can find them for 60. Well, I've seen pretty cheap houses. I mean, they're run down, but you can still get into something.
And there isn't much of a town probably in some of those
Yeah.
places, but
Yeah, you
if
just
you-
gotta.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just gotta find the right place. It's just location, as they say, location.
yeah,
So,
everybody was telling us there was no work where we were moving. Like,
Yeah.
don't go there. There's no jobs. There's nothing. And I mean, I found a hair salon right away that wanted me to come work there. I was from California. They were like, "Oh, we'd love you to work here," and he was able to find a lot
Yeah,
of work.
crazy
There
amount
was
of work.
No painters there, and everyone needed their house painted.
Yeah.
So
But that, and it's interesting because we had so much pushback, and that was like one of the things I was talking about. Like I was thinking about when I was thinking about this journey, I was kind of making notes, and I was thinking about like all the things we did and how much pushback we got from everyone. Like you would think that like people would be applauding us, hey, paying off debt, you're buying a house outright, like you're getting married, you're having a kids, like you're moving to this nice town. Like you would think, yeah, like people would be like, good job. But it was almost like they were resentful. It was like almost like, how dare you not, enslave yourself to a 35-year loan
yeah,
and pay debt for the rest of your life.
do what
Like,
everyone else is doing.
yeah, so it was crazy how much pushback they got, even from the banks. I remember because
Yeah.
we were saving all that money in cash.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
We were just because we were following Dave Ramsey's plan, where it's like you put everything in cash because it just makes it easier to manage.
Harder
your money.
to, you don't want to spend it when it's cash. So we put it in cash so that you don't want to spend it in hundreds.
Yeah, and large
bigger
bills,
hundreds. So you don't want to take 100 and like, you know, when you're saving your money.
Yeah, it's just hard to
break that. You want to keep saving, and you can see it. It's like,
yeah, and then you get that visual.
And your $1,000, and it's like, wow, this is growing. And it's just the best way to do it. When it's in the bank and you have this little plastic card, it's so easy to go swipe it everywhere and just spend all your money. So that was the way that we were able to do it.
It was so encouraging. It was like we go look at that. It was just like a stack of hundreds, you know, that we had saved. It was like,
but it was in an envelope.
It was like that big.
Envelope. Wasn't that? It doesn't look that big.
I don't know. It was pretty big.
Yeah. They got there.
But yeah, saved a lot of money. It was encouraging to see it, you know, to have that visual of it. But
and then we went to try to buy a house.
Yeah, there's a downside to that. The downside is like you show up with, you know, $50,000 in cash. People are like looking at you like, where did this come from? And it was just, I never even thought of that. I just completely didn't anticipate that one. So it took a little finessing to try to like prove to the banks that, hey, look, this is legit, you know, it's legitimate.
Yeah, we paid our taxes and everything. We just had cashed everything and put it aside. And it was, you know, money we made. Yeah,
and it was a little risky too. I mean, just keeping that large amount of cash. But where we were, it was so heavily secured, being in that the storage unit that we were in. So one, nobody knew we were living back there. Number one. Number two, we had a big roll down steel door, and then behind that there was another door that was like a regular metal door, man door that was locked, and then behind that was another door, right, going into the living room. And I had a security camera outside, and then the money was behind another locked door. That's the closet that it was in, that was locked, and then in a safe. So it would have been like really difficult for somebody to have got that.
That's true. Probably not the safest way to save money.
Yeah, and at that time I was so jaded about the banks. I just was like, there's no way I'm gonna let these guys see another dime of my money
because of your foreclosure, which you talked about in Making a Prepper, I think, too, right? So the whole story. His first house.
Yeah. So I was definitely, when I met Jenny, I was actually coming out of that devastation. I had already been kind of out of that situation for about 2 years. And I was just, you know, when you met me, I was just kind of getting out of the red, so to speak, and kind of putting the pieces back together. But the Kaleidos thing was like the huge thing. I mean, in all honesty, looking back, it was like, I knew I could save money and be frugal and that kind of stuff, like meeting financial goals is one thing, but the health thing, that totally changed, you know, because I went from like, literally I had a chronic illness that, you know, you could ultimately develop cancer from and die from, to like it just being gone. And again, that's another situation where there was pushback. Like you think, it was like every step of the way, every time we were trying to improve our lives, there would be like pushback and resentment. We'd be being met with just like total, you know, just disdain for what we were doing. I remember
healing from your diet, and then the doctors are saying, well, you're healing, but you still should take this medicine that was making you worse.
Yeah, that wasn't working.
The medicine, you're like, I stopped taking the medicine, and I've changed my diet, and they're like, no, that doesn't work. Go back to the medicine, even though you had proof that it was working and you were healing.
Yeah, I think that was the last time I remember the last time I had a checkup. It was pretty much how it went. I remember the nurse asking me, like, what medication are you on? I'm like, well, you have me on this one, but I'm not taking it. And she was like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing a diet, and she's like, well, you can't stop taking the medication. I'm like, yeah, well, the diet's working. And she's like, it doesn't matter. You got to keep taking the medication. And so I was like, whatever. And so I go in, I do the cystoscopy or whatever it was, colonoscopy. And I come out of it, come to from the anesthesia, and I was like, so like, what's the verdict? Because every year I have to go in to get a checkup, and I had been on this new diet for a year, healing my colitis naturally, and they were like, well, all of the ulcers are on the right side of your colon are completely scarred over. And I was like, what? Like, I mean, you got to keep in mind, every time I went in there and got a colonoscopy or something, the verdict was always it was worse. They're expanding. They're going further up. Best case scenario, like, okay, they haven't grown, like they're just the way they were last time you were here. That was like best case scenario. But so to go in there and get this like almost like a clean bill of health where like your ulcers are all scarred over was like, what? And she was like, well, whoa, before you go getting all excited, you have a little bit of an ulcer starting on the left side or whatever it was. And I was like, yeah, but isn't the left side the better side? And she's like, well, yeah. And it was kind of like, why are you not like jumping for joy? Like you would think like, shouldn't you be like getting a staff of doctors to come in and figure out how this man healed himself? But yeah, it wasn't that way. It was just kind of like, we don't care that you've healed and you no longer have this chronic illness that we told you there was no cure for. Keep taking the medication. So at that point I was like, all right, these people are clearly not in the business of healing. So that was pretty much, I think the last time I ever saw a doctor was that day.
Really?
So yeah. So yeah, we could almost do a whole show just on, on that and then all the different remedies that we came across later on. But yeah, crazy times. And your whole thing, I remember when I met you, you were reading a book and you were kind of just focused on aspartame. I remember that was like the thing.
Well, my first book was actually Skinny Bitch. And that whole book was about like becoming a vegan.
Which is what she is. Just kidding.
It was a funny book. So I was a hairstylist and I read this book and it was just really entertaining. But like each chapter was like, sugar is the devil, and would just talk about like all the negative aspects of sugar and what, diseases and issues sugar causes. And it would get into aspartame and just all the artificial sugars and stuff too, and how bad those are for you, and how diet soda is worse than regular soda. And he was drinking diet soda like his whole life,
smoking,
thinking that so many people were tricked by diet soda, thinking that diet soda is better for you, when actually it's worse. It's a lot worse because our bodies can't break down the artificial sweeteners. So yeah, I went down the rabbit hole with health there in that book. And it does kind of, that book I wouldn't recommend necessarily because they talk about meat. They're anti-meat. And I think they called it the dead, rotting, decomposing flesh diet. So that chapter was really interesting. It kind of grossed me out and it made me not want to eat meat anymore. But after being a vegan for maybe like a week, I gave up on that. I was like, no, I don't feel good. I have no energy, just was like dizzy. So that was definitely not the diet for me. But I did start looking into like preservatives and artificial sugars and, now dyes with kids and stuff, and how they might affect kids and stuff like that. Yeah, there's so much that we're learning now that we have the internet. We just have this abundance of information at our disposal. It's I think a lot of people are starting to wake up and realize the conventional way of doing things was definitely not the best way of doing things, and it wasn't really serving us. It was really just serving the people who were pushing it on us more than anything. But this show's going a lot smoother than when I normally do my videos. I tell you, that was a theory I had. I was like, I think it would be so much easier if I have somebody with me to bounce stuff off of. So yeah, this is going a lot
lot smoother than my other videos.
Maybe we can try a live stream sometime. I'm a
Yeah.
little not sure about live stuff. But
Yeah. We're not sure what
helping you with comments or something. But.
Yeah. So we kind of went back and forth on whether or not we just start our own channel and it just be exclusive to this podcast. But it would just take, it's just a big investment to start a whole nother channel. You got to wait for, a year more, sometimes never, to get monetized. And so I just was like, well, let's just do it on my channel. I'm not really putting out that much content anyway. So I figured, I used to do a lot of live streams. And although those live streams weren't super popular, it wasn't my greatest content. There were a lot of people that liked those live streams. So, I actually enjoyed doing them. I actually like doing content like this that is more just off the cuff and raw and unfiltered. I think it just for me, it's kind of stuff that's a lot more interesting for me that I like to watch, but I don't know. But let us know in the comment section, if you guys want to see more of this. I'm sure we'll just post. I'll probably just post this as a video. I know YouTube has like a podcast format, but I'm just not really familiar with it. So if it makes more sense to just post this as like a podcast and do it in that form, I'll do it that way. But for right now, I think I'm just going to upload this as a video. So
yeah, and just say that it's a podcast, maybe, so people know. But
yeah.
It makes sense, I think, on your channel as a prepper and a homesteader.
Yeah.
We're talking about prepping related topics.
Yeah.
Finances and family prepping and preparedness.
Yeah.
Homesteading.
So basically, we're where we kind of left off. So like once we got up here, we bought the house outright. We fixed it up. Our daughter came along. Our first child came along. And I'm just thinking there's a lot of material here, and there's some stuff where we're just kind of like, should we talk about that stuff? I don't know if YouTube is the most friendly when it comes to certain content, but we could definitely go more into the health thing.
Controversy.
Into the vaccine thing. But we'll see how it goes. But, we made some pretty hard decisions in those years when we started having our kids. But one of the really good decisions that we made, pretty much all the decisions we made have been spot on. Like we've just been hitting home runs.
You've worked out so far.
Yeah. Like it's hard. Like our life is hard, but I wouldn't have done anything differently since,
hard isn't bad.
Since we've been together. Yeah. We just, we're just been on a winning streak, knock on wood. But,
even getting in this house when we did, before the market exploded.
Yeah, so obviously we're not
the next thing.
Yeah, and our first house up in far north Idaho, we're closer near CDA right now. But we ended up the house we're in now. We went in on with family, so we share this property with family, which is kind of a common thing. A lot of people are starting to do that now. It's a little easier to get into a home. And if that's how, if there's family that you really get along with, that you could live, spend every day with, hey, team up and buy a house. It's a lot easier that way. But it's definitely worked out for us. And but what I was going to talk about was the homeschooling is. And that was one of the decisions we made. And that's pretty much what you do more than anything is just homeschooling the kids. And
more of a homeschooler than a homesteader. It's homeschool every day.
Yeah, homeschooling. And then just coming up with stuff for the kids to do and keeping the kids, socialized, because we live pretty far out, but we're in a really strong community. But there's not a lot of kids out here. And so usually the way the kids unite here, like in these rural areas, is through like 4-H. That's like a big, pretty solid meeting point for like rural country kids, and it's really good, wholesome. Yeah. But so when you're not homeschooling, you're doing the 4-H thing, or we're in
two different 4-H groups, and I'm now a 4-H leader. Yeah, and then we also have a health club that we're a part of that has a lot of kids activities and homeschooling kind of things for them, like ballet and homeschool PE and homeschool art classes and stuff like that. So they love doing that. We usually do that a couple days a week, and then 4-H is soon to be a couple days a week as well. So on top of homeschooling.
Yeah. So we doing the 4-H thing here?
No, that one's not starting yet. We're hoping to start our own local club, or just bring it back to our community where we live in the next year. But it was just a little too late this year because you have to have 2 trained 4-H leaders to start a club and at least 6 kids. And we kind of lost some of the kids that were going to join our group to another group. So getting it together, hopefully starting our own 4-H club a little bit closer, because we do live kind of a ways from some of the other groups.
Yeah.
So.
But that one group we went up the hill there, it was huge. Like, I mean, you guys would be shocked. Like the 4-H thing is like huge here. And then we had the county fair every year, and the kids are super involved in that. So you go to the county fair and every kid has like, a cow, chicken, rabbits, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And art, our daughter did crochet, and our son's a little artist. So he entered some artwork as well.
Yeah. There's just something to do.
Stuff, so. But
it's such a much more wholesome way for kids to like interact. It was so much better than how we grew up,
Yeah.
So it's just like our lives here is just a total 180 degree, change from how we were raised, where we were raised, and those kind of things. So, and I think that's kind of the focus. And I think that's really the main, though it's leading to this whole movement, I guess if you call it that, like, where you just have these young families who are homeschooling their kids, and, and the wives are becoming like homemakers again, like going back, because we realize, our generations, I'm Gen X, she's a millennial, and our generations just realized, like, the way we've been doing things does not produce good results. There was a lot of wreckage, like we said, like her and I met in AA. Like by the time I was out of high school, I was I'm trying to think about how much I'll get into here, but I'll just put it to you this way. I had a pretty good arrest record by the time I graduated high school, and I just barely made it out in a wheelchair. Like I lost this kneecap in a car accident from drinking, and so a lot of wreckage. And so, by the time I graduated high school, I was like ready to get sober. And by the time I was a year into my first year of college, I was done. Like I checked myself into rehab in 1996. So I was 19. I hadn't even turned 21 yet, and I was already in rehab.
Mine was a little bit later than that. So mine was like my early 20s, 20 to 26.
Yeah.
Where I was getting into some trouble and having a lot of consequences from just the lifestyle that we were in. It was almost
it's just almost
unavoidable. I mean, you try to avoid it. What are you going to do? It was that was the culture we were in. It was drinking and partying. And
you didn't know any different.
There was nothing else. That's what everyone did. And, and there was just so many consequences. And
we literally, it was a common saying where we grew up, where it was like, you're either in AA or you need it. That was sort of like the two realms that existed. And it's just how it was, and it's not really a knock to our parents. We actually had good parents for the most part, I don't think they knew what was going on. They just assumed that it was like, the time they grew up in.
Yeah. They didn't have the internet to see everything, everywhere, what was going on.
They just weren't, I think both our parents were just focused like that, the baby boomer generation was just really hyper focused on making money. And, both the parents worked full time. It was just kind of the way it was. And the kids were just out and about. And I think that's how they grew up too, sort of, except the moms were home. But they just assumed that, we were probably getting in the same kind of innocent trouble that they were getting into, but it wasn't. It was a totally different realm, and I always think a good, the thing I always think about is probably if you look at like the top 10 hit songs like when you and I were in high school compared to the top 10
yeah.
hit songs. It was awful. It's just an awful culture. And when where we were growing up, it was really like the belly of the beast. So, um, but luckily, we made it out, and there was, because of that, one of the results of that was that there was actually a lot of outreach and recovery programs for kids, like for young people. So yeah, there was a big drinking and drug scene, but there was also a big like youth recovery scene too.
Huge.
Yeah,
There was
massive.
huge conventions, and it was like basically the good kids were in AA. The good kids were in AA. The bad kids were drinking and partying and doing drugs. Right?
So that saved me.
Sounds crazy. But
and thank God we had that.
Yeah.
That place to retreat to. It was just like, the all the different
Icky Paw or something.
Yeah,
or whatever
Icky Paw.
Icky Paw.
Yeah, there was just the AA young people. It was young people in AA scene was just massive, and so we do conferences, and the meetings were huge, and so it was it was a lot of fun. And made a lot of good friends. So in a lot of ways, it was actually easy to get sober, almost just as easy to get sober as it was to not be sober. So, but yeah, I haven't been to a meeting in a long time. I still think about it because I've been sober for 25 years now, going on 26 years. But I haven't picked up a chip in probably 12 years or something. I think I picked up my 10-year chip. That was like the last chip I picked up.
Like I haven't either, but you still help people who, there's still people that will call Joe, and, people that we know or people our parents know that they'll recommend to talk to Joe, because he used to run a sober living house.
I ran a sober living house for young people for years.
So he's just been a good resource for people needing help or needing direction, to kind of direct them and where to go, what to do, if they're willing to listen and stuff. So I think that really the benefit of the meetings, continuing to go to the meetings, is to help people, continuing to help people. So we still want to be able to help others.
God still definitely puts those people in my life, like randomly. I swear, I come across people and, drug addicts and alcoholics and need help all the time. And every time I run into one, I can't help but think, I'm like, this is God pointing them in my direction, because it's like, why else would they be here? But I don't know. I had a lot of fun doing that. But you get married and you have a family, and it's just not really a lifestyle I can really lead anymore. Pretty much my focus is just on, our family, our religion, our church, and raising our kids safe. And, when it comes to sobriety now, it's pretty much just like, either you're going to drink or you're not going to drink. End of story, and that's pretty much what it comes down to for me. So, but it was a good time. Anything else you want to add?
Not really to the
into the sobriety thing. Looking at some of our notes back here. But yeah, the homeschooling thing, 4-H thing, it's been good. We're still happy here.
Yeah, homeschooling has been definitely a good decision. I think when it was initially brought up that we were going to be homeschooling, or discussed that we were going to homeschool our kids, our daughter actually went to preschool in the town that we lived in. So but I think even then we knew that we weren't going to put them in school. It was just a good preschool. And so we talked about homeschooling, and it was a little intimidating since I wasn't homeschooled, and I had never thought about homeschooling or thought that I was going to homeschool my kids. It was just kind of something we felt like we had to do. It was just a necessity to kind of be able to keep our kids safe and, lead them in a good direction. So, but homeschooling is going really well. It's not easy, but it's definitely the best thing for our family and for our kids. So, I love it. I would never want to send them to school if I could. So, I mean, if there was a perfect school,
we would.
A little school, perfect little school, maybe. But the way that things are right now, I definitely would not feel comfortable
Yeah.
sending them to school.
The public school system is a mess. It was a mess
Yeah.
when we were going to school. I mean, I wouldn't send my kids to the schools we went to.
No,
There's no way.
No way. No.
And this is in the 80s.
I don't think I would send my kids to a private Christian school. You know, I mean, I've just heard so many stories about the private schools that, you know, they're so expensive, first of all, but then there's just not always the best kids in those schools. You know, it's just whoever can afford to send their kids there, and you just don't know who your kids are going to be socializing with, even in the best schools.
Yeah.
So you don't, and the teachers, who knows how good the teachers really are and what their, you know, ultimate goal is and what they want to be teaching to our kids. So just having that control over what you teach them and kind of who you want them to be around is the best thing I think that we can do for our kids at this point in their life and this age, and then just kind of start them on that right path.
Yeah, there's just so many threats out there. You know, I don't need just like physical threats, but just, you know, the threats with the internet. And that was like one of the, to me, I remember I had a friend who was actually sending his kids to a private school and paying like a lot of money, you know, to go to the school. And he's telling me how like the teachers are all like, you know, conservative. They're, you know, like Christian oriented at the school. And they know the staff really well and everything's good. I'm thinking, yeah, that's, you know, that's good. You pay some extra money and you can get your kids into a good school. But then you come to find that those kids go on recess and there is a kid with a cell phone, you know, who has a cell phone, because you can't control the kids that are going, you know, what kind of kids your kids are going to school with. And this kid is basically got pornography on his phone and he's showing the other kids, his classmates, and this is elementary school, keep in mind, and they're watching internet porn, you know, at school. So I heard that, I'm like, all right, yeah, no private schools either. No, not that. I mean, you can't, you just can't trust it. And so, you know, as hard as it is to homeschool and just, you know, we're always here as a family. It's hard for me, like, one of the main reasons to get any of these videos done is because our kids are here. You know, our kids are ages 9, 7, and 4. And they see dad home, like with a camera, like with camo and guns. And they're like, oh, it's playtime. It is so difficult to try to get anything done at this house. You know, that's why a lot of my videos, I'm like in my garage with everything shut and locked, or I'm way up on a mountaintop. You know, it's the only way I can like complete a video. But, you know, I wouldn't change it for the world though, other than that. But it's a rough time to raise kids. It's a good time. It's still like, I don't want to discourage those, you know, young people who are thinking about starting a family. It's a great time, especially with all the options in the homeschooling community. But you know, if you guys are thinking, the young couples are thinking about having kids, homeschool them. You won't regret it. It is difficult, but there are big homeschooling groups now because so many people are doing it. I think COVID like really pushed, you know, a lot of people into that direction. A lot of people started homeschooling when COVID happened, and they've just stuck with it, you know. But it was like a huge influx of people coming here for the homeschooling thing because our state, Idaho, is such a homeschool friendly state. It gives like, there's a lot of freedom as far as like the curriculums you're allowed to teach your kids. So
there's no restrictions. So, and you don't have to like turn anything into the state. So like when they graduate, we're in charge of writing their diplomas. So there's like, you know, good and bad with that, but it's a lot of freedom to teach them how you want. And, you know, there's a lot of people that do like unschooling. Maybe they don't teach them anything. They let them learn on their own. And, you know, kids definitely learn that way too. So, but we use a curriculum. There's a lot of curriculums that are pretty easy. Open it up and you teach them. And it's just, you know, just an easy way to homeschool. So.
Although our oldest is like, I want to say the smartest, but she's definitely the best at school. I'll just say that. I'm always like,
she's the easiest.
Yeah, she's easy because she learns like super quick. But it's her curriculum is definitely starting to get pretty advanced.
Yeah, she
And
gave
to the
me a
point
false
where-
sense of like homeschooling, like because she learned to read like fluently at 5, like on her own.
Yeah.
She was like memorizing books at 3 and 4, learned to read at 5. Just a great, amazing reader now, way above her grade level. She's 9 now and can just open her school books and do her work without hardly any questions or anything. So, but I'm learning that she's just kind of just really likes it, and that my other kids, I'm having to work with them a little bit more because they have different abilities and strengths and stuff too. So
Yeah.
but
Pretty soon,
but
I'm
it's
not
fun.
gonna.
It's good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to help. They're gonna be like, Dad. I'm like, sorry.
I don't know if I'll be able to help. I took college classes and everything. I mean, I went to beauty college and
I was
became
told.
a hairstylist, but I did take college classes to become a nutritionist. But I quit that when I had kids. So.
Yeah, I was told there would be no math when raising a family. So yeah, don't ask Dad for math help. But everything else, I think I can. I don't know. Can hold the line pretty good, but. I don't know. I'm thinking of other topics, but I almost want to save a lot of it for the next podcast. I don't know, but we'll think maybe we'll end it. How long's it been?
I don't know.
I'm going to check on the camera real quick just to make sure we're still rolling here. And that looks good. Okay, we've only been going for 45 minutes. This one says 58. Something happened there.
It just never stopped.
But they're still on. That's a good thing. So we might as well go the full hour. We're almost to, God, I was worried that we were just going to go for like too long. It'd be like a 2-hour video. And the downside with like a big long video like that, it'd probably take like 2 days to upload where we are because we're pretty far up. The internet service that we use is Line of Sight, and it's like their mid-level internet package. So the streaming isn't really good. So that's a lot of times these videos that you get, they actually, I completed them, like on Tuesday, but then they don't upload until like Thursday. Sometimes those like videos just take forever to upload, but is what it is. I think if I just upload them like on middle of the week early in the day when there's not a lot of people streaming, they'll upload a little faster, but I don't know. I think as this show progresses, definitely I can already see the improvements that I want. Hopefully the lighting's okay. I'm dealing with lights that are actually designed to be closer in, but I think it's working okay. I was hoping to take advantage of the daylight. We originally had everything set up. We were ready to do this show, and there was still a ton of light outside. But then, like I said, I lost this little piece to the microphones, and that delayed us for like an hour, and we lost all of our daylight. Because it goes dark here at like 4 o'clock.
You want to tell them about this
3
lovely
o'clock,
fireplace we have behind us?
Yeah,
here?
you guys like this beautiful backdrop. It's not green screen. This is real. So this was made by yours truly here.
Homemade.
Yeah, all homemade. So I built this right before Thanksgiving from my highly evolved brain and my plethora of tools. But yeah.
For the purpose of
stockings,
hanging our Christmas stockings in our tree in this corner, and having a place for our Christmas stockings.
Yeah,
we didn't have a mantle.
Yeah, we didn't have a mantle. The poor kids had to hang
mantle.
their stockings on the stair rail.
Yeah,
it was dumb.
Well, it worked, but yeah, we needed a mantle near our tree.
Yeah,
and this is our tree corner, so
yeah,
he sure delivered. A beautiful mantle. Nice bench and electric fireplace. So it's really nice.
So if you're in the area and you want one of these built, I can build one for you for a pretty good deal. I was thinking I could probably do this for a living. I got it pretty down packed, but believe it or not, the mantle is actually, I don't want to say the easiest part, but it turned out a lot easier than I thought for what I thought it was going to be. I came up with some really good distressing methods. Especially when it came to pulling this grain out. I used like a wire wheel and torched it, put a bunch of different like antiquing stains on here. So this turned out really nice. And then, everything else, this was pretty easy to build. I knew what size insert I wanted. The insert just went right in. So Yeah, it was pretty easy. The only real hard part was really just making this seat here. This top part was a little tricky just to get it straight, but yeah, it turned out nice. And it was really made like the perfect Christmas this year because our tree went right here and fireplace, couch is behind the camera. So it was nice,
Yeah. Something we'd wanted since we moved in here 5 years ago. We were always saying, we need to put a mantle up here somehow. And
yeah, the wall was just
envision it.
bare. We just had a
big, open, boring wall. Just,
well, we had the TV.
Yeah, a TV
here,
stand.
Bunch of
TV
stupid
stand and a TV on it.
Yeah, it was always just a pain to look at, but
It's a big improvement.
Yep. So, yeah, we made a lot of stuff around here. I was busy this summer. I was doing a lot. Expanded the chicken coop this year. Built this.
We have about 26 chickens, I think, right now.
Yeah, give or take a.
I got my cute shirt for Christmas from Joe.
Yeah.
Support backyard chickens.
Yeah.
Love this cute shirt.
Yeah. We have a lady that comes and picks up our eggs and sells a lot of them at the local market, and we got her a shirt that says "Local Egg Dealer."
Yeah, she loves it.
So
she said she's going to wear it on her deliveries on her delivery day.
But it's a good way to subsidize your egg, the chicken feed.
It's good for kids too. We have 3 kids and they love the chickens. They love collecting the eggs, and they're not that helpful with the chickens, but they are good at catching them and carrying them around, and so.
Yeah, something weird about
they'll help.
the relationship between kids and chickens. The chickens are a lot more trusting of children than they are of adults.
Yeah.
Like if I go out there, there's some of the chickens of the Rhode Island Reds, they'll kind of submit and I can pick them up, but most of those chickens I can't. And then so we just tell our kids that there's a chicken that we're trying to get in. We just tell our son, he's actually like the chicken whisperer, and he can go out and catch a chicken instantly. They just come up to him and let him pick them up and put them in there. So.
But all of our kids are better at catching the chickens than us. They just walk out there. The chickens squat down and they pick them up. We walk out, they run around the chicken coop, and it's impossible to catch them. We have to try to trick them, and it doesn't work. So the kids have to do it.
Yep.
You can't almost not have chickens without kids unless you have a lot of treats and I don't know. Because I've seen people do it, but they like our kids. So that's been a good thing to have with homeschooling.
Yeah.
We'd like to get probably more animals. I want goats. Maybe one day.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I
know chickens are already a lot of work. Cleaning the chicken coops and
I'd rather have quail.
Even getting them food. Yeah, quail.
Yeah, I want something that will produce more protein.
Yeah.
That's just easier.
What about rabbits? Rabbits are good. They breed a lot. You get a lot of little baby bunnies, and then we can eat the bunnies.
I don't know. We could start. I don't even know if our kids would even eat rabbit meat, but I could see that happening. First, get all the rabbits.
They already don't even want to eat chicken anymore.
Rabbits. Yeah. And then, go to all this work, and then the kids won't even like to eat rabbit. And then dad's just sitting there eating leftover rabbit all day. I can see it now.
Yeah. As soon as they found out bacon comes from pigs, they're now like, I don't want to eat a pig.
Yeah.
So I have to get them over that somehow. They get too attached.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think the quail is a good thing. Because the quail, you can actually, you can release them and then just let them in the wild. They actually allow you to do that. You can raise quail and then release them into the wild. And then just have them in your,
They'll stay close?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they had to stay in the cage.
Well, they do if you want. Yeah.
If you want it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can just release them. I mean, you can breed quail and then just release them in the wild. It's totally legal. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure.
Probably
I'm almost
certain
positive.
States or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive on that. As long as they're indigenous to the area. So it depends on, obviously, you don't. Depends on what kind of quail. You got to make sure you're breeding the right kind of quail.
So I guess if you get quail, they're going to breed, right?
Yeah.
They're just going to, because you're going to get eggs, they're going to be fertilized eggs. They're like little tiny eggs, right?
Yeah.
A little bit smaller. I remember even seeing quail eggs. But
yeah, they're tiny.
They're kind of expensive, right?
I think they can be, but they don't taste any different from what I hear. I never had quail eggs, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't, right? Some people actually do. They raise quail for the eggs.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Because I think they're more expensive.
Yeah. They use them in like different types of cuisine, like Japanese food and stuff. But
oh yeah.
No, I would just be eating them for the
Pico
meat
and quail eggs.
they're really easy to process. You can process a quail in like under a minute. It's really fast.
Oh.
And they breed really quick. So there's a really fast turnover rate with quail. So
Yeah, maybe quail.
yeah, and they're just good to eat. It's a really good, lean, healthy bird.
Not as much work either, because I would like a dairy cow. I want some raw milk, and a dairy cow would be my dream. I'm like, what about a mini cow? You have like little mini Jersey cows, but they're a lot of work. They cost a lot of money to have.
We have nowhere to put
bills
it.
And it would be like right outside. Yeah,
we have 5 acres, but
what? That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah. There's no cow coming. We'd have to put it up on the hill, and then we go up the hill every day.
Yeah, we have 5 acres, and we have a creek, which is awesome. But a lot of our property, you've probably seen it, is pretty hilly, and then most of the acreage is like up
on a mountain,
steep hill. So
yeah,
not a lot of flat farm area in this house.
So you'd be like snowmobiling up there in the winter, or hiking up there with snowshoes, or
that'd be
every day to deal with cows. So it's not ideal.
No, if we had a cow, I would definitely want it like by the chickens, or like your garage out there.
Yeah. Or I just install a lift. What do they call that?
To feed them?
No, like the lift that you get into.
A gondola?
Yeah, a gondola up the mountain. From the house, you just get in.
That'd be awesome. Let's do that.
I could build that. It's just cables and a winch and a box.
That sounds fun.
But a lot of people around here actually have, what are those called?
Oh, the
zip lines.
Zip lines for the kids and stuff. Yeah.
Our neighbor, well, we had a few neighbors that up the way that have zip lines. But yeah, I was going to say his name. I don't want to dox our neighbor. But yeah, our neighbor up the street has a zip line. Let our oldest go on it. It went over the creek, which is like so awesome. Yeah. I want to do that over the creek, but that'd be crazy because they'd be like probably 30 feet up in the air.
Yeah, I'm already nervous about them snowboarding down this little hill. They're like going into the creek on this little hill we have out by the apple tree. They're just snowboarding down into the creek today. So
yeah, they got a sled.
Cold water. They go straight into the water, straight into the freezing cold creek in January. They come in freezing.
Yeah.
So,
But
maybe when they're older.
Yeah, they're having fun. So now it's probably been an hour. And there's a lot of topics. I mean, we have a lot of stuff we could get into, but maybe we'll save it for the next podcast. I think an hour is a pretty good amount of time. Yeah,
we can get more into like preparing as a family, prepping as a family, and how I feel about it. I think people are probably curious about how I feel about like prepping and preparedness and stuff too. And then, finances, a little more about finances, and just get kind of deeper into some topics, maybe some health topics or.
Yeah, that's why I think this would actually make for a good live stream platform. And we could have like a laptop with comments. You guys could come, just comment on the live stream. And we could read your comments and do something like that. We do a show and then take comments, something like that. But right now, I think it's just going to be a video format. We'll see how it goes. But this week, I'm going to look into...
With no childcare, I don't know how well a live stream would work for us because, that's kind of been the issue. Your live streams are usually late, too.
Yeah. We've already had like 3 kids walk back and forth, like... that you didn't see.
They're waving and going to the bathroom.
Trying everything to try to get us to say something and flip out. Yeah. But they've been pretty good so far. We got them downstairs watching a movie. Hopefully they're watching something parent approved at this
Well,
point.
we
I don't
have
know.
DVDs.
Yeah, it's just
it's a case
DVDs.
of kids' DVDs, so they can't access anything bad.
Yeah.
So
That's the thing I
So-
tell you, being a parent in 2025 or, in the millennium, it is difficult, man. You have to be vigilant about protecting your children because it's just so ugly. And even with like YouTube, it's like, well, for a while there, we were like, it was like you could put them on a good show, but then the show would end, and then YouTube would suggest another show, and it was never anything good. So the show would end, we come back and look, and it's like, oh, kids are watching something horrible.
So yeah.
Or and then with the TV, you put something on the TV, and it's good, but then like a commercial comes on, the commercial is awful.
That's what's nice about YouTube Premium. We ended up having to get YouTube Premium so that we didn't have the commercials. And then you can also turn off the feature that automatically puts on another show once the show ends. So we did that on all the, like on YouTube and everything.
Yes.
And this is our only internet TV in our house. Our other TVs are super old. They're not internet TVs. So
yeah, they're just DVDs.
We have a TV downstairs that's just DVD only. So we have full control over what they watch.
And when it comes to family preparedness, like the one thing that actually that comes to mind, like especially when I'm thinking about the kids, is like entertaining the kids. So like, if we're in any type of situation, like for instance, the one I always think of is just any type of shelter in place situation where we end up for whatever reason having to stay at home and shelter, we can't go out. That that we can create an atmosphere for our children that is like low stress, so they can live out their lives even though all hell's breaking loose, and we can kind of keep them sheltered from it. And so that was like when COVID happened. I remember that was like my focal point was like, I'm going to need to really start taking a whole new angle as far as how I prepare our property from like an entertainment standpoint. And so we built a big playground for the kids, just to keep them busy and occupied while they were here day after day after day. So we did the playground, big, huge playground for the kids. I put in that basketball hoop, the garage.
The pool in the summer too.
Yeah, we got little inflatable
like
pools
pool.
that we buy in the summertime. And then, I mean, they got a lot of stuff to do. You got the creek and all that kind of stuff, a lot of toys.
Chickens
yeah.
are entertaining for them too.
Yeah, and the chickens. But, sometimes that stuff, it wears out, especially in the winter months, and you're just kind of stuck inside because it's too cold outside. I mean, stuck inside. And that's when, DVDs come into play. But that's something that people don't forget is that if you're in any type of like grid down or even an interrupt, like if there was a failure at the internet and there was no more internet, it's a lot of things that people don't think about. What are you going to watch? If you don't have DVDs, I don't know what you're watching. If the internet's, because everybody's watching everything on the internet now.
Yeah.
And it's just another thing that people take for granted is like, oh yeah, if there was no internet, like how would we entertain ourselves? And it's like, yeah, you better have board games and movies, like physical DVD movies.
And books, a lot of books.
And books.
They love coloring, art supplies, Play-Doh.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
A lot of indoor
crafts.
stuff for winter. So.
Right. But yeah, so it's definitely something to think about. And what's cool about where we are, there's actually still a video rental place here that we actually go, like we frequent quite a bit. So we're there, at least once a month.
They know us well.
Yeah, we're pretty much the only people.
We're there more than once a month.
Yeah, it's
almost
fun.
every weekend.
Yeah,
that we go and rent movies.
I don't
with the
know.
kids. Maybe every other or so.
There was a while there we were going there a lot, but it's because our son loves it there.
We have 6 movies right now that we.
Yeah, we rented 6 movies. It's just a fun experience. For those of you who grew up in the 80s and 90s, it's like that video experience going to Blockbuster on the weekends was like so great, And so to have that, still in our town, you can go in there and it's like a video store and rent movies. It's cool, And there is advantages. It's not just going there for the atmosphere and the experience, but the movies are cheaper. You can rent new movies for like $2.
We have most of them probably on streaming.
Yeah.
We don't have that many streaming channels, but we have some streaming channels that we could watch them for free, but we still rent them.
Yeah.
Just because the kids will pick them out.
It's fun.
Okay.
It's fun to
Go
go
ahead.
in there and rent those movies.
Yeah, for like $1 or whatever.
Yeah. I keep telling the guy there too. He's like, I'm like, man, you need to restore this place because I think there's like a thirst for it. A lot of people like that. You know, they want it. They're just hungry for that camaraderie, that wholesomeness. You know, something to remind them of like a better time. You know, a better day and time.
Especially if they made it like 80s, like put like 80s or 90s, like older movies on and had like the popcorn machine going.
Yeah,
you know,
I know.
Like we remember.
Yeah.
Kind of from that time.
Yeah.
At least the parents would want to bring their kids in
Yeah.
there. And,
yeah, he's really dropping the ball in there. That
well,
guy.
he's not the owner. He's,
the owner. They're
he
just
works there. So.
Yeah. But I'm telling him, I say, you got something bigger here than you realize. And he's like, yeah, I know. But the thing is just slowly dilapidating, you know, and you think from the outside, I think most people, we tell them that. It's like, you know, you got to turn lights on, like more lights on. He's like, I know, you know, the owner won't do it. It's just cheap. But, you know, because most people probably just go by and think it's closed, you know. Oh, look at that old video store.
Yeah.
But it's open.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, yeah. Anything else?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
think so.
we'll save it for the next time. But let us know in the comment section, you know, if there's any topics you guys want to hear us talk about next week. I don't know if we're going to make, Jenny was saying, you know, like I said, she's like the organized itinerary one. And I'm like, let's just wing it and we'll do it when it feels right.
Where's the outline and the topics?
Yeah. I was like, that's not that kind of show.
We're just going to talk like we do in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's maybe a little more censored, but
yeah,
we'll try to make it real, keep it real.
Yeah, but this was smooth. I thought there was going to be a lot more awkward, silent moments.
Well, because there was every time we like tested out the equipment, we were kind of like,
yeah, but even then, I had no idea how it was going to go.
Yeah.
But we were doing audio tests like in our room to see, you know, when I first got these mics. So I spent a pretty penny on this new audio system. So hopefully you guys appreciate it. We'll see. But
the other one was failing us.
Yeah. But yeah, even then we were, I don't know, it was a little awkward. It's a little weird being in front of a camera. Still, it's even more awkward when I'm by myself. I tell you what.
Yeah, I'm usually just like baking some bread when I do a video, and I just like usually voice over, so it's very different.
Yeah.
From what I'm used to.
And everything's off the cuff. I'm not like no editing. It's so nice. You guys don't realize like those videos that you see that I put out, it might seem like, wow, Joe's like really good at speaking. He's so eloquent. He can just really ramble on about something. But what you guys don't realize is that there's probably 400 takes before you get one of those videos. Literally, it's just like, you know, yeah,
sure, you're getting better.
Gaff after gaff. So, but yeah.
Congratulations on 70,000.
Yeah, hey, we should have.
You hit 70,000
mentioned
today.
that we hit 70,000 subscribers today. So thanks to all of you guys. Obviously, couldn't have done it without you guys subscribing to the channel.
Yeah.
So that happened quick. I started this channel when?
Was it 2 years ago? Two and a half years ago, maybe?
Yeah, a little over 2 years. So
2.5 years ago.
Yeah. I grew faster than I thought I would. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So
it's not easy. I have a channel. I have like 1,000 subscribers, so it's definitely not easy. It's a lot of work, dedication.
Yeah, YouTube is rough. I think everybody watches a YouTube video and they think, "Oh, I can do that." Everybody goes into it with that mindset, and then and maybe the first video will, you do, and it's easy. You upload it, but as it progresses, you realize, oh, okay, I got to keep coming up with new and creative and original content every week, and you have to start making improvements, as the channel grows. And then it's rough because then the comments start coming in. You get all the hate comments. I'd say that's probably the hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get a YouTube channel, unless you have a thick skin. I mean, a really thick skin. It'll be easy, but
a thick skin.
You have to have a thick skin to do YouTube for sure. Because I've read some comments where I was like, "That's it, I quit." Like, ready to just end it. People can be
pretty bad. Sometimes.
People can be ugly.
Yeah,
they're just awful.
Yeah,
I've read some brutal stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but that's on them. That's on them. People that go online and say mean things to people who are, putting effort out there and putting together a video for you, and so that's on them when they have nothing nice to say.
Yeah.
It's not you. It's not me. It's just
something
going on with them that makes them want to say something mean to somebody.
Yeah. So. And as much as I like doing this almost as much. I'd say I actually, believe it or not, like I said, I'm a painting contractor by choice. I would say, and as difficult as painting is, it's so physically demanding, painting, but I know painting because I've been doing it my whole life. I can do it, and it's pretty much, when I go in, I do a job and it's the same thing kind of for the most part. But with YouTube, it's like, I got to be creative. You can't just, and every day, it's different. So it's tricky. And it's just learning how to be comfortable in front of a camera and speak without saying the word a million times and making it somewhat enjoyable for the listener. Definitely, it's easier said than done. Some people have the gift and they can just start a channel and rise right to success, but those are very, very few in between. I think a lot of people probably, they fall for that. They see somebody go out, like that guy's like, I'm going to do a tent camping video, right? You think I'll just go get a wood stove tent and I'll go and camp, up on the mountain in the snowstorm with my wood stove and I'll get 10 million views like this guy. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. I thought it worked that way. It doesn't. You
have to be you have to be creative. You have to be good at filming. You have to have a good story or whatever topic and created video and then editing and then
timing.
I don't know.
There's like timing.
All the things.
Timing is a huge part.
Yeah.
When you post that video and what you're posting, it's just whatever that video is and when you're posting it. And that I'm just rolling the dice on that one. Mm-hmm. Some people have kind of figured out that algorithm magic. Mm-hmm. I haven't, but I think I've been.
Mm-hmm. Or can post at the same time every week, the same day and the same time every week. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, because I can,
especially with uploading here.
Yeah, because I can post a video and see like, oh wow, that video did really well. I'll post it again, in a month. I'll do another video just like it, post it at the same everything, right down the line, and it just tanks. So it's total hit and miss. It's the other thing. It's a very uncertain business, so there's a lot of risk in it because it's very unpredictable. Mm-hmm. You can be a hit one day. And I see that a lot of times where a lot of people have like the one hit wonders. They do one video that goes viral, does really good, and they think, oh, I can make a go at this. And then, they don't have it. It's, they hopefully try to do that same video over and then people get burned out. And then, so that's kind of why we started doing this podcast. Cause I was like, I got to keep it interesting. If there's one thing I know, especially with any type of like entertainment, is you got to try to stay original, keep it moving, keep it fresh. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this is a good addition to the channel. We'll see how it goes, but I'm really glad I was able to, getting kind of, I don't want to say I'm getting burned out. I'm not getting burned out on the technical stuff. It's just, but it's hard to keep that stuff fresh because I feel like so many times I'll do a bug out bag video and I'm thinking like, oh, I've done this video so many times, like they're gonna get mad at me. So yeah, it's fun. I love it, and it came just in time because my eyes are going bad and I'm I'll tell you one thing: having bad eyes as a painter, not good. I put these glasses on, I can paint fine, but having to take these on and off all the time is super frustrating. But
Yeah, same with like when you do live streams. If you do a live stream, we'll have to try to do it together so I can help you read the comments.
yeah, right.
Do those.
So let us know in the comment section. I mean, if you guys want to see this, you like it as a video, you like it as a podcast. For those of you who might have experience with that venue, a podcast, let me know. We could do it a live stream. I don't know. Like you said, the live stream would be tricky, but
yeah, it would
I don't know.
It would be hard with our kids because even after they go to bed, they don't really go to bed. They're not good sleepers. They'll come out of bed and
yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
The thing with the kids is that the kids get in the video, it changes the whole policy of the video. And I don't know, it's probably you filming your kid. If a kid is in a video for more than probably 10 seconds or something, it probably makes it so that you can't have comments on the video and the I don't know. But it changes the whole everything.
Yeah, made for kid content or something.
Yeah, not that we really want our kids in the channel. It's too much ugliness out there, but maybe when they get older, we can integrate them in.
If they're wanting to, we'll let them decide when they're old enough if they want to be in some of the videos.
But yeah, we got this down packed now. See, I got all the studio equipment, lights. We got the scene, so everything's set up. I'll just store it in the corner over there.
Our old broken bar stools, no fancy chairs around here.
Yeah, these chairs we bought these on Craigslist or something.
Yeah, Marketplace in Spokane, and they were just really bad.
Yeah, that's a bad combo. You have, your wife is on the internet. Oh, I found a good deal on chairs.
No more of that.
Yeah, you paint them and I'll.
They were so bad. They were like they had to be. They were like covered in like maple syrup or something. They had to be sanded and painted, and they're falling apart.
Yeah, they were gnarly.
But whatever. They look good now.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, but most of our furniture is like secondhand. Yeah, a lot of salvaged.
Or you built our dining room table.
Built the dining room table.
It's a lot like this. Nice farm table.
Yeah, but yeah, I have a lot of fun doing that. I almost consider doing that as a channel, just scrapping and then bringing stuff back. Because I actually had a lot of fun doing that, but people started catching it. Like, then people started.
You went to the dump.
Yeah, everybody started figuring it out. And then I would go up to the dump and there'd be like 3 other people there waiting. I'm like, oh man. So that scene was kind of wrecked, but.
You found some good stuff at the dump though.
Crazy stuff, like the stuff that people throw away. It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll do it. So let us know in the comment section, you guys, if whatever questions you have for us, you like the channel, let us know. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit that notification bell. Yeah. So, and then we still need a name.
Yeah.
We definitely still need a name.
So what were we thinking? Like the Prepared Family, right? Was one of them? Something like that?
Something like that. But we need a domain for that, So
whatever we come up with, we have to make sure that's available. But
yeah, and that's so frustrating is you come up with the name and then you go to check the domain and somebody's just parked it. Basically, like they're not using it. They just bought it and they're like, well, you can have it for $400 million.
$3,000, I think, is the going rate for those.
Yeah. So it's so obnoxious that people do that, but whatever. So we got to come up with a name, a creative name.
Let us know if you have any ideas.
Hopefully it's available. Its domain is available.
Prepping, homesteading, that's not taken.
Yeah, I don't want to do the homesteading thing. We were going back and forth for like a couple hours trying to come up with a name. I was like, I want to get away from work because we're not really homesteading that much. We just have chickens, so we're not really.
Well, I make sourdough bread. So,
yeah, she makes.
I homeschool my kids.
Yeah.
Our kids, sorry. Yeah. So I'm kind of a homesteader.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's definitely we're definitely homesteading more
Prepper
than
channel.
Probably a lot of those homesteaders.
We're also Prepper family. So
but
Prepper family podcast.
Yeah. yeah, I picked the prepper avenue because I knew I was like, that one's not going to get overrun and become trendy. Like prepping will become popular. You'll find this like prepping will be popular, but it never becomes trendy, you know. And that's what I liked about it. I'm like, it's safe from like all the goons like getting a hold of it and making it trendy. Like they did that with like the bushcraft thing and just made it trendy, and then it like just totally killed it for me. I was, thought bushcraft was cool until all the skinny jean wearing dudes started doing it, and then it was like lame. But yeah, all right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it. So until the next time, stay prepared. Stay prepared. All right. See ya.
Yeah, coffee can stimulate you, and it also helps you. It can also calm you down. Like it can give you anxiety, but it can also be like a calming, like relaxing thing.
Yeah.
Do my sleeves look okay rolled up like this?
Mm-hmm.
Is this on?
Yeah.
I didn't even see you start it.
Okay, take two.